a world where sound never seems to fade, where every second is filled with movement, chatter, notifications, and endless demands. There are rare moments when silence feels like the only thing we truly crave. The noise, the chaos, the clutter of life always pressing in, always demanding more. Asterisk, but somewhere. Beyond the sprawl of streets and screens, there are spaces that don't just shield us from the storm. They breathe with us. They don't just stand against the elements, they embrace them. They don't hum with distraction, but with a deeper kind of energy. They whisper in the softest possible way that stillness is not weakness. Stillness is a form of strength. Asterisk, this is not a house built to impress at first glance. It does not shout its presence, nor does it clamor for attention. It doesn't need to, because this is not just a home, something entirely different. A living balance between two worlds, one raw and unyielding, the other calm and deliberate. A balance between strength and serenity, steel and silence. Asterisk, welcome. To the Industrial Zen Barndominium, asterisk, it is more than architecture, more than walls, windows, and a roof. It's a sanctuary for those who understand that peace isn't found by escaping the world, but by designing a space that makes the world feel softer, quieter, more bearable. Here, the harshness of industrial design steel beams, exposed textures, unpolished honesty finds harmony with the tranquil rhythms of Zen. Together, they create a home that feels alive, as though every line and corner, every shadow and surface was meant to guide you toward a state of calm you didn't know you needed. Asterisk in this place. Mornings feel different. Time feels different. The weight you carry, the mental chatter, the restless pulse of modern living, it begins to slow. Each breath feels deliberate, as though the air itself is softer here. There is no race, no rush, only rhythm. The gentle hum of life, wrapped in the stillness of space. Asterisk, and as you step into this world, something changes. The tension you didn't even realize you were holding begins to release. The sharp edges of thought soften, and in the quiet you notice the little things. The sound of your breath, the echo of your footsteps, the distant whisper of wind through a crack in the siding. It's not emptiness, it's not isolation, it's clarity. Asterisk, because this is not about living in a house, this is about living differently. Choosing simplicity, but never sacrificing character. Embracing openness, but never feeling exposed. Even the walls seem to know when to disappear, when to become less like barriers and more like gentle guides. Shaping a space where your mind can finally truly rest. Asterisk, for some, it's just a building. For others, it's a bold experiment. But for those who understand, those who feel the strain of a life that never slows down, this is more than design. It's medicine. A way to rediscover the quiet strength you've forgotten in the noise. Asterisk. And so, as we begin, know this. What you're about to see is not simply a home built from steel and wood. It's a sanctuary, crafted with intention. Every angle, every line, every beam has a purpose. To remind you that stillness is powerful, that strength doesn't always roar. Asterisk, this is where serenity meets resilience. Asterisk, this is the Industrial Zen Barndominium. Asterisk, Industrial Zen is not a style. It is not a label that can be packaged or sold, not a fleeting trend to fill magazines or social feeds. It is a dialogue, ongoing conversation between two very different worlds. One, a world of raw, unpolished strength steel, concrete, exposed structures, the bones of a building left bare as if to declare, "This is what I am." The other, a world of restraint and softness, where every line and texture feels deliberate, each choice made to invite stillness into the room. Asterisk, together. These worlds don't clash. They don't compete. They speak. They harmonize. And it is in that harmony that Industrial Zen comes alive. Asterisk, the steel beams and concrete floors, solid and unmoving, carry a quiet hum of presence. You can feel more than hear. They ground you. They remind you of permanence, of durability, of something built to last through the years and seasons. Yet, balanced against this, the warmth of wood, the softness of linen, and the gentleness of diffused light soften every edge. The harshness yields, not by force, but through contrast, till the space feels less like a structure and more like an atmosphere. Asterisk, it is here that a certain calm begins to take hold. There is no excess. There's nothing shouting for attention, no ornament screaming for recognition. So every piece, every surface, every line has a purpose, and that purpose is clarity. This is not a place where your eyes are overwhelmed or your senses overstimulated. Instead, it is a place where every detail seems to tell you the same thing. Breathe. Asterisk for those who crave simplicity, but refuse to surrender character. This design feels like home before you even understand why. It does not strip away the soul to find peace. It layers strength with softness, grit with grace. It carries the weight of industrial bones and still allows space for serenity to unfold. It is the duality, this conversation between grit and grace, that speaks most clearly. Asterisk, and perhaps that's why it feels so human. We too are built on contrasts. We carry our own strength, often hidden beneath layers of chaos and noise, but somewhere inside, we crave balance. A place that lets us stand firm yet invites us to exhale. It's a space that feels open and unbound yet safe. Asterisk, in an Industrial Zen Barndominium, the openness is intentional. Walls do not divide so much as they suggest, allowing rooms to flow into one another like thoughts that don't need hard stops. Shosh-inspired panels glide effortlessly, not to shut you in, but to offer the option of privacy without heaviness. Natural light spills across the floors, not in harsh floods, but in softened waves, shifting with the time of day. Asterisk, even the shadows feel alive here. They aren't empty. They are part of the composition, painting moments of contrast on concrete and wood. Nothing feels accidental, yet nothing feels forced. It is as though the building itself understands the rhythm of life, giving you spaces to pause, to reflect, and to move when you're ready. Asterisk, but perhaps what lingers most is not what you see at all. It's the feeling beneath the surfaces, the quiet energy that runs through the space. You can sense it when you walk through the doorway, when you sit alone in the stillness, when the only sound is the faint whisper of wind through an open frame. Asterisk, and yet, this home is not truly alive because of the beams or the wood or even the silence itself. There is something more, something waiting beneath the comma layer. You might not notice at first glance. Something that turns a quiet retreat into a living sanctuary. That is where this story truly begins. Every angle is deliberate, every shadow intentional, every echo softened by a whisper of nature. Nothing here feels accidental, because this place is not simply built, is composed. Like a piece of music, each note and pause serves its purpose, forming a harmony you don't just see, you feel. Asterisk, from the outside, the Industrial Zen Barndominium carries a strength that doesn't shout, but lingers. Dark steel siding stretches across its frame, weathering with a quiet dignity, as though time itself is part of the design. The roof lines cut sharp and clean, confident but never excessive, echoing the discipline of Japanese simplicity. Around it, nature isn't an afterthought. It's part of the blueprint. Rock gardens curl softly along the edges. Bamboo sways with the breeze, whispering in rhythms older than the structure itself. Water features murmur gently, breaking silence not with noise, but with peace. Asterisk, crossing inside, the air changes. Space opens before you, not like a hall of grandeur, but like a deep breath. There are no cramped corners, no heavy barriers. The rooms breathe. Walls are not obstacles, only quiet suggestions, gently guiding the flow of movement without closing it off. Sliding panels light. Shosh-inspired offer privacy when needed, but they never make the space feel confined. The openness is not emptiness, it's possibility. Asterisk, every surface, every material speaks in its own language. The cold, unwavering strength of steel is met by the rich warmth of cedar, grounding the space in both resilience and comfort. Concrete floors stretch beneath you, solid and unyielding, but softened by the textures of linen, wool, and smooth stone. These contrasts are not meant to compete, but to balance, creating a rhythm where each element elevates the other. Asterisk, and then there is the light. Light here is not just function, it is emotion. Hidden LEDs wash the walls in a subtle glow, imitating the soft hues of twilight, calming the senses as the day winds down. The massive windows, framed with intention, pull the horizon inward, turning sunrises and sunsets into part of the architecture. Each moment of shifting light feels like a silent performance, one that reminds you that the outside world is still, moving, but you don't have to. Asterisk, this is where your mind exhales. The chaos of the world muted, until all that remains is the hum of your own thoughts. The faint sound of water outside, the distant rustle of bamboo, the softened echo of footsteps on polished concrete, all of it, reminding you that quiet is not the absence of life, but the presence of something deeper. Asterisk, even in the smallest details. Intention is present. The way the ceilings lift just slightly higher than expected, creating the illusion of air and space without overwhelming scale. The way each pathway feels natural, as if guiding you forward without command. The way textures invite you to reach out, not to consume, but to feel. But every calm surface hides a story. What you see as serenity is built upon layers of resilience. Beneath the silence, beneath the softened lines and shadows, this place is not fragile. It is not delicate. It is, in truth, designed for life, not just to look beautiful, but to endure everything life can bring. Asterisk, the Industrial Zen Barndominium carries its calm with intention, but also with strength. Its steel siding is more than an aesthetic, it's a shield, weathering each season with quiet grace, never demanding attention as it ages, but growing richer, more storied with time. The concrete floors beneath your feet, cool and grounding, are not merely for their industrial charm. They're built to last decades, to carry weight without strain, and yet, beneath their polished surface, warmth flows. Invisible, but ever-present, radiant heating brings comfort in silence, turning something cold into something deeply human. Asterisk, even its beauty is functional. This sanctuary doesn't just stand against the elements, it works with them. Windows, placed with precision, capture sunlight, not just for a view, but to warm the home in winter, to bathe it in natural light that shifts and softens as the hours pass. The very angles of the structure, deliberate and measured, channel breezes, easing the weight of summer without relying solely on machines. Every detail, every material, whispers a quiet truth. Stillness here is not the absence of effort. It's the result of extraordinary care. Asterisk, and yet, beneath all this, there is more. What feels so effortlessly tranquil is, in fact, carefully orchestrated by the unseen. Smart systems hum quietly, almost imperceptible, but always at work. Climate control that adjusts not just to the weather, but to you, learning your rhythms, your preferences, so that the air feels like it was designed for your comfort alone. Lights that shift with the day, cooling and dimming, warming and brightening, not with switches, but with time itself. It is a home that responds, that feels alive. Even when you are still, asterisk, but what truly makes each Industrial Zen Barndominium feel like a sanctuary rather than a showroom is its ability to be personal. No two are ever the same. Every space bends itself toward the needs and spirit of its owner. For one, a wide-open meditation hall where the world feels distant. For another, a hidden loft, a library, a place where silence feels wrapped around you like a blanket. The architecture listens, it adapts. It doesn't impose a lifestyle, it nurtures one. Asterisk, because this is not about building walls and calling it home. This is about crafting a retreat that feels as though it has always known you. A place where the balance of steel and cedar, shadow and light, space and privacy, somehow echoes your own balancor, the one you've been searching for. Asterisk, and yet, there is one element, one quiet detail, that transforms these walls from stillness into something unforgettable. Something more than architecture, more than even sanctuary. You won't see it in the beams or the textures, not even in the play of light. You'll only notice it when you're here, when the silence feels alive, and you realize something deeper is at work. Asterisk, and that is where the heart of this home truly begins to beat. Asterisk. It isn't the steel. It isn't the wood. It isn't the glass that makes this place feel alive. For all its design, for all its balance of strength and serenity, the true heartbeat of this home does not come from what was built, but from what is lived. Asterisk, a barndominium, even one shaped by Industrial Zen, is only a shell until it begins to move with the rhythm of those who call it their sanctuary. Its spaces are not meant to be admired from afar like a museum, but to be lived in, to be softened by footsteps, by laughter, by quiet moments where the world outside slows, and time feels as though it stretches, just a little longer than it should. Asterisk, every detail, every choice, was not only for form or even function, but for a deeper reason, to slow the rush, to turn the mundane into something sacred. Here, a cup of coffee in the morning is not just caffeine, it is a ritual. Steam rising in the soft glow of natural light, a reminder that beginnings do not have to be hurried. Breakfast does not need to be rushed while standing over a sink. It can be seated, grounded, with the soft hum of water outside and the warmth of cedar around you. Asterisk, and when the day unfolds, the home moves with you. Wide open spaces invite energy, allowing laughter to echo without feeling overwhelming, allowing children to run, to play, to fill the structure with life, without ever feeling like the walls close in. Even in the liveliness, there is no chaos. The openness absorbs it, holds it, balances it, turning what could be noise into a pulse. Asterisk, as the evening arrives, the world outside may quicken, but here it slows. The fading light filtering through the windows feels as though it lingers longer than anywhere else, as if the house itself holds the sun for just a moment more, offering you one last breath before night settles in. Shadows stretch and soften, and even the quiet feels alive, the hum of life, gentle, it's unforced. Asterisk, it is in these transitions, morning to day, day to evening, that the Industrial Zen Barndominium reveals its true purpose, not simply as a home, but as a guide. It shows you subtly, patiently, that life does not always need to race, that pauses are not a waste of time, but the very moments where life feels fullest. Asterisk here. You begin to notice things you didn't before. The weight of the cup in your hands, the sound of your breath in a still room, the warmth of a wooden beam beneath your fingers as you trace its grain without thought. You begin to notice how the laughter of family sounds different in a space. That doesn't echo with coldness, but carries warmth in every surface. You notice how the sunset, viewed through those wide panes of glass, feels less like a passing moment and more like an event. Something to be experienced, not rushed. Asterisk, because in the end, this home does more than shelter. It teaches, shapes, the rhythm of the days spent within its walls, gently nudging its inhabitants toward a life less frantic, a life where presence replaces hurry. It is a rare kind of space, one that doesn't just house life, but transforms it. One breath, one step, one still moment at a time. Asterisk, the Industrial Zen Barndominium is not just a place you live. Asterisk, it is a place that teaches you how to asterisk so. Your heart craves calm, but your spirit longs for strength. Perhaps it is time to stop imagining and start building. It's not just a house with walls and windows, but a sanctuary. A place that doesn't merely keep you sheltered, but reshapes how you feel, how you breathe, how you live. Asterisk, because the Industrial Zen Barndominium is not simply a structure, it is a promise. A promise that strength does not have to mean hardness, that simplicity does not have to mean emptiness, that beauty does not have to mean fragility. It is proof that a home can hold two truths at once and yielding on the outside. Gentle within, rooted in balance, made for lives that refuse to be rushed. Asterisk, imagine mornings where the world doesn't dictate your pace, where the first sip of coffee feels like a ceremony, not a necessity. Imagine evenings where time slows, where the fading of the light feels like an invitation to reflect, to connect, rather than a reminder of all that remains undone. Imagine a space where every breath feels fuller, where every moment feels longer not. Because life has changed, but because the way you experience it has. Asterisk. This is what these walls offer. Not just shelter, but a shift, a quiet recalibration of what it feels like to live.